Morning, all of you. Uh, Morning, everyone. In particular, for the seniors, obviously it's the last time you'll sit in these seats, and you may be happy about that. I would tell you that I see graduates from 50 years ago who remember what seat they sat in Bingham and who alphabetically was on either side. So it'll be a bittersweet memory, and delighted to see you here. Obviously, yesterday what we did was honor the upper mids in terms of academic achievement and service and involvement in extracurriculars. And today is a celebration for the athletics, in particular this season. My job is really to let the coaches tell the individual story of their seasons, but my job is to really give some sense of context. In some ways, to sort of put this spring in a sense of history. And let me do it by starting this way. There were 22 total teams this spring, and they won 67% of their games. There were 12 varsity teams, and they won 73%. I said to Mr. Hinman, is that unprecedented? He said, I'll have to go back and look. I don't know that we've ever had a season like that. If you have varsity teams in the most competitive league in New England, and they basically went 7-3, 73%, I think it's probably unparalleled. And then if you add, to give you further context, the year, varsity teams this year, so in all three seasons, went 266 and 135. So remarkable. It's like a 26-13. That's a winning percentage that is better than right now the very best team in Major League Baseball. So I think you should applaud yourself on one of the best years we've ever seen. Just, let me give you another way to think about it. On Alumni Day, as you know, we have this tradition that alumni who come back go in this brief parade. They walk around, they come back into Mac Quad, and I always give a few remarks about the school. They want to hear about the state of the school, what's changed, what's the same. And I spoke to them briefly just about how the fact is, this is just one of the great schools in the nation, and the level of student achievement in all areas is incredible. And I spoke about the academics and results in APs and students who have won national and regional awards and entered contests and have done well. I spoke about arts, the art that you see on the walls of the school, drama, the fact that our plays have gone all over the world, came back from a tour in England, Collegium being on tour in this spring in Italy, the fact that Chambers played at Lincoln Center. So I spoke about that. And then I said, you also ought to know that you're incredibly lucky because if you think about athletics, I said to them, in the past week, just in this past week alone, I said, our crew teams qualified for the New Englands just within the past 7 days. Yep, awesome. That I said that on Monday, as all of you know, our girls golf team won Founders in New England, and led by Allie Ely's jaw-dropping 73 score. So they did the same thing. They started clapping when they heard that. I said that on that same day, the girls lacrosse team, for the third time in a row, had beaten Hotchkiss, and of course they were really excited about that, as they should. I explained that again within the recent days. The Founders, we had competed in Founders track, and a number of school records were set, including some very long-standing ones. Some records were broken. And then, on top of it, I said the girls softball team had just been given the #1 seed in the New Englands. And that level of accomplishment across the board, I wasn't looking for applause, but all the alumni just started clapping. They were so proud to hear that just within that past week that had happened. Then, in the next 24 hours, you think what happened? That afternoon, the boys lacrosse beat Hotchkiss in a great game. The boys baseball beat Hotchkiss in a great game. And the next day, the softball team won it all, running the table. And so within 24 hours, you had one of the most exciting days I can think of in Taft athletics. It was absolutely remarkable. Let me close with just, and I have one other person I want to recognize, but let me put that last piece in some context, the softball teams. Here's a context that I think probably has no parallel. In the past those 3 seasons, those girls are 36-5. I'm pretty confident saying that there, in no sport in the history of the school has there been a 3-year run quite like that. The only thing I can think of is when Mr. Davis was running the girls' soccer teams in the 70s and 80s. 36-5 over the last 3 years is absolutely remarkable. Okay, you can recognize it, but let me give. So, I was going to ask you to do that at the end, but we don't. But it's so obvious. I watched their last game last year when they lost to Westminster, and it was a great game. It was over Westminster. It was clearly the two best teams in New England, and it was really obvious at the end of that game that there was this sense that there was unfinished business, that we were going to be back. And I think that when you have a coach like Ms. Valenti and you give her time to think about the next season, when you have a pitcher as good as we do and a team as talented around her, and then when you have a team as committed as you had in that team, you end up with something special. And Ms. Valenti will talk more about the season, but I think that was one of the great seasons this school has ever seen and a great 3-year run, and I just think well done for that team. Great work. Now, I will turn it over to the coaches, but there's one person I'd like to recognize. He doesn't know I'm going to do this, but under Mr. Hinman and Ms. O'Shea's leadership, we have started trying to recognize coaches who have been who have coached at the school for more than 25 years. And you remember we did that with Mr. Palmer this fall. It's remarkable to be able to say that that's happened. There are very few schools that have coaches who excel and stay in a sport for 25 years. When you have that, you're really lucky as a school. I want to recognize Steve McCabe this morning because I did not ask his permission to do this. He has been the face of track at the school for 3 decades, for boys and girls. He has brought the most incredible intensity and joy and class to that sport. I cannot count how many students who have had personal records with him, how many Founders Leagues records we have set there, and most importantly, how many students have had their lives changed because of the way he coaches. This is a man who is intensely competitive, but above all, just simply loves students and wants to allow track to be something where they learn and grow and become different young men and women. I think this is one of the most classy coaches I've ever seen in all my years, and I just would like to recognize him for his toughness and his compassion and his love for you. Steve?
You know, when I played football, I was an offensive lineman, so no one ever recognized me. But I will say, in short, I'm extremely touched by the words of Mr. Mack and obviously by the many athletes that I've had the great pleasure of coaching. And to be perfectly honest, this is for all of you. Thank you.
Just to follow up on Mr. Mack's comments, I want to congratulate all the seniors on a tremendous year. Without question, this has been the most successful year in my 12 years as athletic director, and that is a real credit to the class of 2012. This spring in particular has been exceptional, and I want to offer my appreciation for all of the fine work this group of coaches behind me and their assistants have given to the athletic program. Mr. Kennerson and most of the members of the boys varsity golf team are currently competing in the Kingswood Golf Tournament, which is the equivalent of the New England Championship for the boys. So he asked me to speak and to give out the awards. The 2012 season was once again extremely successful, with the team finishing the regular season with a 13-3 record. Included was a school record 381 shot against Kingswood and Kent. This score means that our 5 golfers combined to average 76.1 over 18 holes, an amazing number. The other highlight of the season was Matt Chimenti's performance at the Newport Invitational. Matt won the tournament with a 73 in extremely difficult conditions, and the second place finisher was 8 shots behind Matt's score. Numeral and letter winners, and if you're here, please stand. Varsity numeral goes to Owen McGowan. Varsity letters to Sebastian Cheng, Jack. Let's hold the applause till the end. Jack Dayton, Bob Mang, Julian Papadopoulou, Jack Porcelli, Matt Chimenti, Brandon Souza, and Henry Weston. The Founders League All-Stars for this year and people who receive Founders League honors will receive their certificates after the assembly from their coaches. This year go to Sebastian Cheng and Matt Chimenti. The Gillespie Golf Award, established in 1987. Given to that member of the varsity golf team who carries on the tradition of sportsmanship and love of the game characteristic of John Gillespie during his 34-year association with Taft. The 2012 winner is Henry Wesson. Mr. Kennerson will announce the captains-elect when he returns from the tournament. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Claire Sheldon. She's in the back, my great assistant coach. A season highlight, and one that will last a lifetime, was having the famous sports psychologist, Dr. Bob Rotella, come and visit campus. Bob's very important messages can apply to all athletes. His message was to trust your abilities, to be your own best friend, and to believe fully in yourself. These words resonated in my team's heart and helped them become repeat New England champions. For the third year in a row, the team also won the Founders League Championship, and this year they won it by an amazing 39 strokes. Yeah. For the 5th straight season, the team helped raise over $250 for the Daniel J. Wilcox Memorial Fund. This fund helps children attend summer camps who are affected by domestic violence. At this event, we presented for the first time the John Vilvano Taft Class of 1944 Golf Award to the individual that best exemplifies the spirit of Taft golf. Nikki Yasenik was the winner. And since the program started its inaugural season 6 years ago, the school record is, with respect to Mr. Davis and Ms. Valente, 90 wins, 6 losses, and 3 ties. Sorry, I had that stat here. Okay. It has been a remarkable 19-0 season. Please stand and remain standing when your name is called. Numeral winners: Morgan Mance, Courtney Chachaval, Faye Leitner, and Nicole Liu. Varsity letter winners: Allie Ely, Jacqueline Ely, Legree Augustine, Nikki Yasenik, Maggie O'Neill, Penn Navarro. Our Founders League winners are Allie Ely, Jacqueline Ely and Nikki Yasenik. The Girls Golf Award, established in 2006, is presented to that player who, through her commitment to the game of golf, has displayed the highest level of integrity and sportsmanship. This year, the award goes to Allie Ely. Allie is probably trying to break her 73 and maybe practicing right now, so we'll see. Also, the captains now for the 2012 season will be Jacqueline Ely and Legree Augustine.
Mr. Paget once called coaching track a little bit like herding cats. And for your help in that regard, I'd like to thank my fellow coaches, Mrs. Palmer, Ms. Valdez, Mr. Paget, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Jewell, Mr. McDonald, and Mr. Johnson. And now I'll move quickly on to the teams. The girls' team successfully pushed through college visits, APs, and the loss of senior captain Liza Davis to a season-ending illness rallied behind the outstanding leadership of senior captains Ellen Cowlins and Lindsay Karcher and finished their season with a final record of 6-4. The boys' track team successfully endured much the same, including the loss of senior distance runner Eric Metcalf to a season-ending illness, and likewise rallied behind the outstanding leadership of their senior captains, Zach Carlin, Eric Marks, and Mitch Wagner, finishing this season with an 8-4 season. The teams competed in several big meets as the season drew to a close, each one contested under near-perfect weather conditions after a spring of up and down forecasts. The Founders League Invitational Meet at Trinity Pawling produced a long list of season's best performances for the 27 Taft girl and boy athletes who participated. At the Founders League Championship Meet, both the boys and girls teams placed fourth. In total, 25 of the 32 Taft athletes who participated in the meet earned places in the top 6. And finally, at the New England Prep School Division I Championship Meet at Choate this past weekend, both the girls team and the boys team finished 6th overall, and 20 of the 30 Taft athletes who participated in that meet earned places in the top 6. I guess if you were to ask me to sum up the 2012 season beyond those words, I'd have to call it a season of record-breaking, as Mr. Mack already alluded to. On the girls' side, school records were set by the 4x100 meter relay team and by Candace Dice in the triple jump. And on the boys' side, school records were set by both the 4x100 meter and 4x400 meter relay teams and by Anthony Gaffney in the long jump. As we did in competition this year, letter and numeral winners first for the girls, and please stand. Varsity numeral goes to Eliza Davis, tri-captain. Varsity letters go to Candace Dice, Katie Harpin, Sarah Iannone, Shayna Joseph, Ellen Cowlins, tri-captain, Lindsay Karcher, tri-captain, Tess Niesel, Alexandra Lewis, Carolyn Manley, Leah McIntosh, Rashi Narayan, Maggie O'Neill, Taylor Poiker, Taylor Rado, Lexi Rogers, Elizabeth Shea, and Megan Teeking. On the boys' side, varsity numerals go to Fernando Fernandez, Boolo Jonga, Peter Lynn, Eric Metcalf, Nadir Pearson, and Charles Valley. And finally, the varsity letter winners, Frankie Benavides, Anthony Gaffney, Charlie Garcia, Shane Hardy, Zach Carlin, tri-captain, Johnny McMullen, Eric Marks, tri-captain, Troy Mupen, Al Nejma, Quinn O'Malley, Adam Parker, Taylor Persicchini, Andrew Robertson, Demetrius Russell, Julian Senna, Jordan Stone, Kevin Trotman, Preston Veely, Mitch Wagner, tri-captain, Matt Wee, John Zacheski, and Jason Zhao. It's tough to do so when you seek to recognize athletes from the 80 or so that we had in the program this spring, but there were a number of our track athletes who were selected for postseason awards and recognition. For the girls, Candace Dice and Katie Harpin, and for the boys, Anthony Gaffney and Andrew Robertson were all selected as Founders League All-Stars. And finally, there is the Seymour Willis Beardsley Track Award, which is awarded each year to those members of the track teams who most thoroughly typify the finest spirit and accomplishments of the ideals of the school laid down by Horace Dutton Taft. The 2012 winners of the Beardsley Track Award are Ellen Kalmans and Zach Carlin. The 2013 track teams have a pretty significant legacy to live up to. On the girls' side, they will be led by tri-captain-elects Candace Dice, Maggie O'Neill, and Elizabeth Shea. And on the boys' side, they'll be led by tri-captain-elects Shane Hardy, Al Nejma, and John McMullen.
First, I want to thank coaches Piacenza and Ganong for all their help this year with the varsity baseball team. And I also want to say a big thank you to coaches Zepeda and Duval, who are in the back of the room, and will be moving on from Taft, but have contributed so much to Taft baseball, and I'm so appreciative. So a quick round of applause for them. Thank you. Also, all the other behind-the-scenes people, the training room, athletic office, facilities, grounds crew, an amazing team that makes going out, I know on the baseball diamond, all the other fields, that much easier and exciting every day. Lastly, and to thank the seniors. Relative to last year, we were young this year. We graduated 9 seniors, and we enter today's game against Loomis, final game of the season, with a record of 9-9. We began early at 7-2, and so that left us finishing in third place in the Founders League, and we're competing today against Loomis for the third spot in the Colonial League. We're in 2 leagues, obviously. We notched satisfying come-from-behind wins against Hotchkiss, Westminster, and Kent to reveal that we're a team of grit, and that was a word that we talked a lot about, a team that understands that we must grow in the face of failure. And author Susan Casey, a quick quote, says about sports and failure, "Sports remain a great metaphor for life's most difficult lessons. It was through athletics that many of us first came to understand that fear can be tamed, that on a team the whole is more than the sum of its parts, and that the ability to be heroic lies to a surprising degree within." We've learned so much about ourselves as a baseball team this spring, as athletes, players, coaches. In terms of learning, Coach O'Shea talking about fundraising brought me back to during our spring break trip to Florida. We do a Habitat for Humanity build every year. And during that build this year, building a house for an Iraq War veteran in Fort Pierce, we learned from Ryan Gagne that if you take little lizards in Florida, flick them on the nose, you can then hang them on your ears as earrings. And that was really the highlight of our learning down in Florida. Where's Ryan? Up here? There we go. So again, thanks everyone for all we learned on the diamond. Now, if you'll stand, please. Varsity numeral winners, managers Ashley Petrarca and Paige Rogers. And varsity letter winners, Kyle Considine, co-captain, Ryan Kuhn, Timmy Drakely, Ryan Gagne, Robbie Harbison, Quentin Harris, Jake Jordan, Rob Kiska, Justin Lebeck, Jackson McGonigal, co-captain, Jake Minicucci, Travers Namek, Joe Paduano, Jackson Parisi, Henry Perandri, and Hadley Stone. We have two Founders League All-Stars, and they are Jake Jordan and Hadley Stone. And the Stone Baseball Award, given annually to that member of the varsity baseball team who, through his leadership, consistent high level of performance, perseverance, and good sportsmanship, has made an outstanding contribution to the Taft baseball team. The 2012 winner is Jake Jordan. And the single captain-elect for the 2013 varsity baseball team, by a huge voting margin of his teammates, is Rob Kiska.
I'd just like to offer my congratulations to the girls JV tennis team, the girls varsity golf team, and the softball team, and coaches Suzanne, Ginger, Claire, Megan, Jim, and Tom on their phenomenal undefeated seasons. Keep it going today. Also, a very special thanks to Coach Kevin Conroy for helping me out so much with the boys varsity tennis team, as well as with all the other tennis teams. Our players are lucky to have your coaching skill and personality impacting their lives. The euphemism rebuilding year fits this team perfectly. Thanks to the Donaldson family, we rebuilt the tennis facility, surely the most beautiful in New England and one of the most amazing facilities of any high school in the country. Following last year's super season, this was also a rebuilding year for the team. Unfortunately, the team didn't come out quite as well as the facility. Three lower mids, 2 mids, and 3 upper mids, a very young team, probably the youngest I've ever coached, forged a 7-8 record with 3-4 losses to Deerfield, Loomis, and Berkshire that really boiled down to only a few shots in each match. Our mantra this year and our mantra next year will be, take care of the big points. This was a really fun season. I had a blast. You guys are a crew of really nice kids, and our future looks bright for next year, so work hard this summer. Varsity numeral winner. Please stand, manager Sarah Cassidy. Varsity letter winners, Griffin Connor, Eric Della Pena, George Johnston, Tucker Killian, Han Bin Lee, Michael Mulroy, Jagger Riefler captain, Maxime Albert Tremblay. The Ulrich H. Mann Jr. 09 Award, that's 1909. Established in 1977 by his family and friends, awarded annually to the outstanding varsity tennis player this year, goes to Captain Jagger Riefler.
Jagger's got a big match today for any of you that want to come out and see amazing tennis. He plays the #1 player in the United States of America, a kid who's going on to play at Stanford. Jagger will have his hands full, but we're all optimistic. We have 2 Founders League All-Stars, Maxime Albert Tremblay and Eric Della Pena. And next year's captain is Jagger Riefler.
Special thanks to Mrs. Suzanne Campbell once again for her outstanding support as the JV coach, and obviously congratulations on this undefeated season, which is hopefully establishing the building blocks for another undefeated season for our team next year. We'll have to see. Anyhow, girls varsity tennis this year had a 6-5 record, and we ran through all the gamuts of emotions this year. We began the season 0-2. And I think we were all secretly questioning whether or not that win would come at some point this season. But thanks to the leadership of 7 seniors, we then embarked on a 6-game winning streak, which harkened back to teams of yesteryear. And then no sooner did those dreams of championships start fluttering in our head, we went on a 3-game losing streak to conclude the season. So it was a true roller coaster ride. But through it all, we were led, organized, and completely infused with the spirit of those 7 seniors. And it was a great group of girls. 7 seniors out of 10 girls on the team is something you don't see too often. And they provided incredible leadership for us and laid the groundwork for years to come. This is a group that started 4 years ago with little freshman Maddie James. And they established a legacy of winning, 4 straight winning seasons that came to a conclusion this year with the addition of PG Addie Warner. It was a group of winning girls. It was a group that established a lot of fun traditions that will continue on into the future. Senor Panchos, barbecues, practice at Starbucks. That might explain some of those losses. But anyhow. Anyhow, this is a group of girls that deserves a lot of credit. They have been the face of TAF tennis for the last 4 years. Varsity numeral winner, manager extraordinaire, Olivia Lynch. And varsity letter winners, please stand, everyone. We had PG Alexander Warner, who provided us with a lot of experience and depth, playing both singles and doubles. We had Jackie Susskind playing #3 singles for us this year. We had Maddie Rawlings, who, as usual, was one of the most dominating doubles players in New England. We had Alex Pite, who filled in and played singles and doubles for us this year. We had freshman Little Bella, Isabella Ordway, who is going to provide a lot of excitement for girls tennis in the years to come. Co-captain Katie Knowlton, who formed the other half of our dynamic doubles team with Maddie Rawlings. Wallace Kenny, who was our singles specialist this year. She came in and provided a lot of victories for us at #4 singles. Courtney Jones played #1 singles for us this year, and she proved to be more than up to that difficult task. Co-captain Maddie James, who was the 3rd outstanding doubles player for us this year. And the Cinderella story this year was Eleanor Huff, who played #2 singles for us. She did something that was quite extraordinary. Last year, she played #3 doubles for us, which is essentially the last position. And she came all the way up and played #2 singles for us this year and had a great season. We had 2 Founders League All-Stars this year. Jackie Susskind at #3 singles. She had an outstanding year for us and provided a lot of wins. And doubles player extraordinaire, Maddie James, our captain. The George D. Gould Tennis Award is awarded to that Taft tennis player who best embodies the sportsmanship and will to win of George Gould, established in 1971. Your 2012 winner has been the face of Taft tennis for 3 years now. Even as a sophomore, her personality took over. Her drive to win and the enthusiasm that she injected into our program are second to none. This year's winner is Katie Knowlton. Next year's captains have got a big job ahead of them. We're losing 7 incredible girls, and they will be Jackie Suskind and Courtney Jones.
I want to start by thanking Shannon Tarrant, whose unending positivity and relentless energy is really such a gift to all the people she touches. So thank you, Shannon. Early this season in the girls' locker room, we were talking Seneca, citing the phrase, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." In many ways, this, I think, is the phrase that has defined our team's success this season. On March 6th, our first practice together before we went away for spring break, we drove the team over to Hard Hill, which is a hill west of campus, and it's 1.7 miles straight up. The team ran up this hill, and after finishing that run, and since that time, we've talked about 2 things. 1, that there's a direct correlation between hard work and performance, and 2, that we must continue to improve and grow all season, every day. Ultimately, this team's hard work and determination to improve every day has been the cause of our success. With 1 game to go, we're 13-2 and have scored 194 goals in 15 games. What stands out to me more than that, however, is that on the vast majority of days, practice has been more fun and more rewarding than our games. I think this is a tribute to a team that pushes one another every day and has improved every day through effort and through the leadership of some really phenomenal seniors. With a season that includes only 16 games and well over 40 practices, I think this daily effort is what is particularly special. Thank you for your grit and thank you for your teamwork. I'm so proud of you. This year, the girls varsity lacrosse numeral winners are Rob Daigle, a manager, and Charlie Rudkin. Thank you. And please stand, varsity line winners, Georgia Birmingham, Lauren Drakely, Mary Dubois, Lexi Dwyer, Collins Grant, Katie Harrell, Caitlin Majewski, Jordan McCarthy, captain, Gwen McGee, Jackie Mishnoff, Rachel Muskin, Charlotte O'Leary, Rosie Oppenheim, Laurel Pascal, captain, Caroline Quealy, Catherine Rosnick, Lindy Smith, Coco Takis, and Story Vibrance. This season we have 2 Founders League All-Stars, Jordan McCarthy and Laurel Pascal. Congratulations. And last, the Wandelt Lacrosse Award. The Wandelt Lacrosse Award is awarded to that member of the girls varsity lacrosse squad, redo. Awarded to that member of the girls varsity squad for sportsmanship, play, and outstanding contribution to lacrosse. The 2012 winners are Jordan McCarthy and Laurel Pascal.
Hello, everyone. I think it's important for me to recognize a newly formed and winning team this year, which includes my fellow coaches Will Shotwell, Matt Labrie, especially Carly Borkin, as well as Mr. Hinman and Ginger O'Shea, without which we would not have been able to field such a remarkable fleet of boats. This year we had an incredibly strong team, from the wild ones that are the new wave of rowers to the expertly smooth upper boat rowers. And unless you've pulled hard on an oar with a competitive team, it's difficult to understand what's required to go fast in terms of athleticism, grace, dedication, perseverance, and volumes of hard endurance work and strength training. These girls on this team this year pushed each other really hard, pushed themselves and each other to be their best. And during the season, we rowed for miles and miles, upwards of over 20 a day in spring training out on the rivers. We're one team, and there really are no stars because they're all stars. So, win or lose, some of the most memorable moments in racing is when you fight tooth and nail right down to the line with well-matched opponents, never gaining or losing an inch, despite the best efforts of both boats. Those are the moments you never forget. This year's team was led by Captain Hannah Deathlefs, and along with a great bunch of seniors, Alana Fogarty, Kelly Gaston, Ann Tewksbury, and Miss T. Matome. You can get your name right there. And one person who stands out to me in that group is Kelly, who, rather than play four square out in the Mac Quad, elected to come out and gun it with the wrecking crew and made it all the way from novice racing to the first boat. Go Kelly. Without a doubt, the best highlights are yet to come at the New England Championships this weekend, where all four powerful and speedy boats qualified to compete, and we're sending the strongest team we have in years. Every girl and every boat exceeded their own expectations this year, performed exceptionally well, and took down most of the teams that were formerly close competitors. Joe, Miss Porter's gunner, you stomped on them all. To footnote, that 24 hours that Willie mentioned, the boys and girls boat won every race. And looking forward, building on that base, we're setting sights on faster boat clubs like Greenwich Academy and Windsor. While some of the best moments were in squad competitions, pieces in practice, it's hard to ignore the hot racing at Founders Regatta that put the first boat into the finals for the first time in years and gained the third boat, the Magic boat, a bunch of medals. Okay, varsity numeral winners, please stand. Jane Andreessen, Andrea Benvenuto, Rebecca Frank, Ali Hildreth, Grace Lyman, Miss T. Matome, Ava Menon, Molly Mooney, Katie Pfefferly, and Athena Wilkinson. In the Everyone's a Star department, we have decided this year, boys and girls, to have the top four boats who compete for the team trophy at the New Englands as varsity. And these include getting varsity letters this year: Rebecca Bentime, Tess Conciatori, Charlotte Cunningham. Please stand up, ladies. Sarah Josie Danziger, Elizabeth Demon, Hannah Deathlefs, Alana Fogarty, Leslie Friddy, Kelly Gaston, Tally Hodges, Zoe Klimley, Sam Lammy, Caroline Leopold, Tiffany Lee, R.C. O'Shea, Nayung Park, Ann Tewksbury, Liz Villette, Amelia Wilhelm, Erin Wilson, and Karina Woolheider. Okay. The Founders League All-Stars this year, it's hard not to recognize the amazing stern pair that I had in the first boat, Josie Danziger and Hannah Deathlefs. The Crew Award, established in 1993, given to the member of the crew whose outstanding contribution, sterling character, and dedicated perseverance embody the best ideals of rowing, go to Hannah Deathlefs. And to lead the team next year, we have two awesome co-captains, Rebecca Bentheim and Aaron Wilson.
You all know what a Labrador Retriever is, right? The Posts have one, Dr. Benedict has one, and to take a page out of Mr. McCabe's book, if coaching track is like herding cats, coaching boys crew is like herding 31 Labrador Retrievers. I would like to thank Mr. Labrie and Mr. Hinker for helping me with those guys who are always full of energy, always happy, and always a little bit goofy, just like Labrador Retrievers. This season, the rowers and the coxswains on the boys' crew team have dealt with muds, floods, thunderstorms, rain, snow, boat swamping waves, giant trees floating down rivers, 2K tests, 6K tests, seat racing, and, unique to the crew team, a whale-sized UFO that dropped into Bantam Lake. They have met every challenge with determination and good humor, and I speak for Mr. Labrie and Mr. Hinker in thanking the team for their competitive spirit and their positive attitude. It has been a great honor and a great pleasure to work with this group of athletes. The 4 varsity boats on the boys' crew team have compiled an overall record of 44 and 29. At the Founders Day Regatta, all 4 varsity boats qualified for the afternoon finals. Our first varsity boat won the DuPont Cup 2 weeks ago for the first time since 2004. And all 4 varsity boats, as I think you've learned, have qualified for New England's on Saturday, with the first varsity boat seated 6th out of 25 boats in New England. Athletes earning numerals this year, please stand up. Greg Anrig, Chris Capice, Nikki Ganick, Richard Gilland, Malone Hedges, Cade Kager, Jordan Maya, Gabe Menison, Till Skolik, and Kevin Wan. Athletes earning letters, varsity letters this season are Sam Barnhill, Robert Brown, Jared Carson, please stand up, guys, Liam Carty, Catherine Chesborough, Elias Clough, Allie Elkman, William Fitzgerald, co-captain, Robert Fitzgerald, David Hankey, Will Kirsten, Alexa Lambert, Isaac Morier, Hayden Pascal, Thomas Profenius, Dan Rubin, Carl Sangri, Mark Schiller, Ben Tweedy, Nate Warr, and Will Ziesing, co-captain. We honor as our Founders League All-Stars 2 athletes who have been in our first varsity boat from the beginning of the season. They are Hayden Pascal and Allie Elkman. The Crew Award was established in 1993 and is given to that member of the crew team whose outstanding contribution, sterling character, and dedicated perseverance embody the best ideals of rowing. This year, we are proud to honor David Hankey. And finally, voted by their teammates as next year's captains are Hayden Pascal and Ben Tweedy.
It's always an interesting thing as a coach when you head into a season knowing that you have a good team, but you never truly know how good that team is until you're put in a tough situation. The first challenge of our year came during the second week of our season as we traveled to Simsbury to take on the defending league champions. Westminster tested just how good this team was, and the Lady Rhinos, as we came to be known as, responded loudly. Going into the top of the 7th inning, Taft was down 4-3.
We got a few people on base. Cassie Roosh came up and I said to her, "Hey, do you think you could get a hit?" She responded with a rocket over the center fielder's head, giving Taft the 5-4 victory and their first time beating Westminster in many years. The rest of the season continued without incident as the team went on to win every single game they played, only allowing their competitors to score 21 runs in 14 games, while the Big Red racked up 136 runs during their winning streak. This past Saturday, Taft took on the number 4 seed Greenwich Academy in the semifinal round of the Western New England tournament and soundly defeated them 7-1. Sunday would be a different story, as we were given another chance to take on Westminster. From the start, it was clear this would be a hard-fought game, as the two teams battled back and forth, and in the bottom of the 7th, Taft found itself in a similar position, being down 1 run with only 3 outs left in the game. Again, Taft persevered, forcing the game into extra innings. This team made my job so easy this season, and the 8th inning of that game was the perfect example. I wasn't the one who had to get the girls fired up to win the game to keep them going. It was the girls who knew what they had to do and had the heart to continue to fight. Granted, walking in the winning run of a championship game is somewhat anticlimactic, but the overwhelming support that we saw from the Taft community on Sunday made this one something more than special. I was so happy for the team to see them get the support they deserved and to be rewarded for their success. I would like to quickly thank my 2 assistant coaches, Jim Lehner and Tom Antonucci, not only for putting up with 13 teenage girls, but for dealing with me as well. You made my... So thank you. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Jenny Walker. Where's JWoww? Jenny has to be one of the most committed managers on Taft's campus, and she was also our team's #1 cheerleader. And I just want to thank you, Jenny, wherever you are, for all your support to the team. Varsity letter winners. Can you please stand as I say your name? Amy Feda, Ridian Glass, co-captain, Kano Kotaka, Elena LaRusso, Colleen Marsick, Taylor McGee, co-captain, Katie McLaughlin, Shelby Mextrop, Caitlin Morton, Soyeon Park, Lizzie Pelletier, Audrey Quirk, and Cassie Roosh. I'd like to award 3 Founder League All-Stars awards: Taylor McGee, Katie McLaughlin, and Cassie Roosh. The softball award, established in 1993, is awarded to the player on the varsity team who the coaches feel has demonstrated the most enthusiasm and dedication to the team. The recipient of this award is the first person to win this award 4 years in a row, and I'm happy to award it to Ridian Glass. And next year's captains, Katie McLaughlin and Cassie Roosh.
First, let me thank all of the assistant coaches this year: Coach Bender, Coach Madden, Mr. McGee, Mr. Mendoza, Mr. Hoffman, and Mr. Caesars. You guys have done a wonderful job. Definitely a roller coaster ride throughout the year, but we really, really appreciate your resilience and your hard work and dedication to the boys. I also want to thank, obviously, the entire training team, Ms. Krusko, Mr. Hinman, Mrs. O'Shea, Mr. O'Toole, the entire ring staff, and good having Mr. Halton back as well. They do a ton for us, and we couldn't do anything without everybody's hard work with this group of guys. Currently 10-6, we're ranked 3rd in all of Western New England, which is either one of the top 1 or 2 leagues in all of the country, and if we win today, we'll be outright number 3 in all of Western New England. So certainly some good stuff to work for in the game today. Highlights this year, definitely our 14-10 win over Hotchkiss on Alumni Day on Saturday. We really appreciate all the fan support. And that was a Hotchkiss team that was ranked in the top 25 in the country at one point this year, and definitely played our best 48
minutes of the season. And then also wanted to, in terms of a highlight for the year, wanted to recognize 4 seniors, Clark Geeson, Jack Katkovich, Mark Hawkins, and Matt Harrigan, guys that, names who do not show up in the box score very often, but come to practice every day, work their tails off, never complain, and really the heart and soul of our team, really what I think makes high school athletics great, and really want to thank those guys so much for all the hard work they put in, not only this year, but in the top 4. All right, varsity numeral winners, please stand to be recognized. Jasmine Hanley, Sarah Lindenberg, and Oliver Salk. And varsity letter winners, please stand to be recognized. Tyler Breen, Peter Cabrera, Garrett Chapman, Garrett Clark, Cooper Delzato, captain, Lucas DiPietrantonio, Bobby Dutton, Max Feidelson, captain, Brennan Foley, captain, Clark Geeson, Josh Grossman, Matt Harrigan, Mark Hawkins, Alex Hewer, Jack Katkovich, Jeff Crackey, Jack Lee, Augie Masucci, captain, Will McElroy, Jake Miller, Kevin Mulvey, Chase Murphy, Kramer Peterson, Will Pope, Oliver Sipple, Eric Smith, Chaz South, James Taucus, Will Trevenin, Angus Vibrants, and Cody Walsh. We had 2 Founders League All-Stars, Augie Masucci and James Taucus. An honorable mention, All-Western New England and Garrett Clark, and 3 guys who were All-Western New England, Chaz South, Jeff Crackey, and our rock back there, Chase Murphy. Those are All-Western New England guys. We also had 3 guys voted to the Senior East-West All-Star Game. Senior All-Star Game, Cooper Delzato, Kevin Mulvey, and Brennan Foley. And finally, the Odden Lacrosse Award, presented the Taft Varsity Lacrosse Team of 1966, by the Taft Varsity Lacrosse Team of 1966 in honor of Mr. Lance Odden. Awarded to that member of the varsity squad for sportsmanship play and outstanding contributions to lacrosse. This guy who has come so far in his 4 years here and has meant so much to this team, Max Feidelson. And the 2013 varsity lacrosse team will be led by quad captains Jeff Crackey, Chaz South, James Taucus, and Oliver Sipple.
So congratulations to all of you who played a sport at whatever level. Particular congratulations to those great teams and the coaches. And the last thing I'd say is it's one thing to say that we should be proud about the achievement, and I think that's really important. After all, there's a reason you keep score, because you're trying to win in athletics. But I think what matters more is the conversations I've had with coaches and players over the course of the spring, and the great enjoyment that they've had working together, and the class and dignity that we have as a school when we go out on the field every day. So to all of you, I say thank you. It's been just an absolutely remarkable spring and year. Congratulations. Thanks.